All right, let's talk about the LaBrants.
The LaBrant Family.
Cole and Savannah LaBrant.
The LaBrant Family is a family channel here on YouTube with over 12 million subscribers. Clear cultural appropriation.
Tyrone, you notice your baby!
Father?
That baby don't look like me.
His wife has also posted on Facebook the N-word.
Savannah LaBrant, you are fake Christians.
I'm talking propaganda to the extreme, to their 13+ million subscriber audience, a large percentage of which are young kids.
They were clickbaiting. They thought their daughter had cancer, and then they found out she was fine. And they made this whole documentary. She got diagnosed with cancer documentary. Yeah, she didn't. The kids are fine.
Cole literally posted on his Instagram, if you watch it all the way through and still hate us, that's okay. And people do hate them.
The LaBrant family's anti-choice propaganda that's filled with falsehoods, misinformation, and actively spreading very harmful and disgusting companies that sole purpose is to try to control women's bodies.
Even if it means commodifying your own child, relegating your own flesh and blood to an instrument for internet clout.
People are always like, how do you put up with all the mean things? I'm like, I really just don't care.
Oh, hi there. Hello, hello, hi. It's my face again. Swoop, 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 swoop. How many of y'all sing the theme song with me? I love it when y'all are just like, I'm singing along with y'all. Swoop, 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 swoop. Maybe I need to record the song. Anyways, hi. So, how do you feel about family vlog channels? Do you hate them? Do you love them? Do you click on them every once in a while and slowly feel the warmth of total and utter domestic bliss wash over you like a springtime shower in the hot forest? Yeah, neither do I. Family vlog channels are weird to me. Like, I am confusion. So I am doing an ongoing series on the disturbing world of family vlog channels. Previously it was the Ace family. Today it's the LaBrant family. So welcome to the 9th circle of hell. Glad you could be here. Now, if you're seeing me for the first time, welcome. I make documentaries and short films on unsolved cases, true crime, and social media influencers who abuse their power and manipulate audiences. Because as I always say, it's not drama, it's dangerous. We also dig deeper into the root psychology, and sometimes we take it to Petty University, okay? Because bitch, petty is my love language. Petty is our love language. And speaking of, again, huge thank you to everyone who has been getting your new Petty University apparel items. And y'all be loving Miss Violet over here, okay? And I thought she was appropriate because honestly, in order to cover the LaBrant family, normally Swoop wakes up and chooses violence, but today she woke up and chose Violet. If you want to grab your Petty is my love language items, the shop is linked below as always. Now, we are going to dig into the LaBrant disaster, and wow. Okay, these folks are something else, child. So like every Swoop doc, I'm gonna break this down into 3 parts: the LaBrant family's rise to fame, their bizarre downfall, and the psychological impact of child exploitation. Okay, we're gonna dive face first into this, but real quick, a huge, and I mean huge, thank you to today's sponsor, Helix Sleep. Y'all don't even know how much Helix Sleep has changed everything for me. So I don't know about you, but sleep has become really important to me lately, especially since I slept like trash forever until very recently when I got my Helix Sleep mattress. And y'all, I am not exaggerating at all when I say I am legitimately getting the best sleep I have ever had. So Helix Sleep makes premium mattresses and bedding that are customized to fit your needs and conveniently ship right to your front door. That means you don't have to run around to like 10 mattress stores and lay on all of those gross like public beds. I did that, hate it, never again. It is so easy to shop Helix Sleep online. It was actually really cool getting it. It comes all rolled up in a box and you just cut the wrapping and it like magically expands into this beautiful mattress. It is super easy to set up. Oh, that's so cool. And you are ready for the best sleep ever. So every body is different and Helix knows that. So they made a sleep quiz to match your unique body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress just for you. And if you sleep with a partner, you can even take the sleep quiz together to find the perfect match for both of you. I actually took the quiz and based on my results, Helix matched me with their Midnight Luxe mattress. So like many of you know that I have fibromyalgia and sustained a spinal injury about a year ago. Now I personally am a back and side sleeper, and turns out a medium firmness coupled with their unbelievably comfortable and cooling pillow top with additional lumbar support was exactly what I needed. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, I'm never leaving this bed ever. This is so stupid comfortable. Now I've had my Helix mattress for almost 2 months now, and what I love most is just the moment I lay down, my muscles just melt into the mattress and actually relax, and I fall asleep in minutes, which has never happened to me before. I don't toss and turn all night, and I actually wake up feeling more rested and not sore all over. And the best part, with your Helix Sleep mattress, you get a 100-night sleep trial, so you can try it risk-free for over 3 months. And if you don't like it, which you will, but if you don't, they take it back, full refund. And the mattress will ship right to your door for free within the US. Along with that, you get a 10-year warranty, and there are financing options and flexible payment plans. So if you're looking for a new mattress, if you've been putting it off like I was forever, this is your sign, honey. Check out Helix and click on the link below, or go to helix.com/swoop for up to $200 off your Helix Sleep mattress. Plus, you get 2 free pillows. I love my Helix mattress. I think you will too. Give it 100 days and treat yourself to the sleep you deserve, honey. Okay, back to the doc. And once again, I just want to thank all of y'all for continuing to watch these docs and for checking out the sponsors, for clicking the links. That is a great way to support this channel and to enable me to continue to make these docs in the first place. They take so much time and work, and I had mentioned before, I have been building a production team, which I am so excited about, to be able to bring more docs to you and also to get back into making some films, which I have not done in a minute, so I'm very excited about that. And from today's sponsor, I will be making a donation to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm sorry I stopped making YouTube videos middle of the summer. I got really busy because I met a girlfriend.
So if you haven't had the honor of meeting the LaBrant family or come across their quintessentially blonde-haired, blue-eyed children on social media, allow me to introduce you. As my mama would say, pleasantries before petty, okay? I'm trying, Mom. Okay, so the LaBrant family is one of the biggest family vlogging channels on the platform, with over 13.1 million subscribers, and have amassed a social media following of over 61 million dedicated fans across their various accounts. Made up of Dad Cole and Mom Savannah and their 4 children, they give off very much the vibe of like the stereotypical scripted local Christian neighbors on TV, you know, like very Ned Flanders-y.
Idly ho, neighborinos.
But y'all, just like that oatmeal cookie you bit into thinking it was chocolate chip, there's something darker on the inside, okay? I'm saying lies and deceit. I will never forgive that oatmeal bullshit. Things are looking sus as hell, okay? And hell is pretty sus. I mean, Satan lives there. Like, what's up with that? Buckle up. Keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle, and let's start our face first, nose to asphalt swan dive with the parents of the LaBrant family, Cole and Savannah, or Sav if you're feeling sassy. I've got gestures today. Okay, here we go. So Cole LaBrant was born on August 21st, 1996 in Troy, Alabama, to his parents Sherry and Ken LaBrant. The second oldest of 5 siblings, Cole grew up in a religious household with a conservative Christian upbringing. I believe like Southern Baptist was the rumor, but he's quite vocal about his religious faith, which I'm only bringing up because it will play a part in their egregious story later. And sidebar, Your Honor, like real quick, while I will occasionally mention religion, I want to make it clear that this is not meant to criticize anyone's faith or religious preferences. Y'all may or may not have religion as part of your life. It is your choice. I respect that. Now, with that, sidebar to my sidebar, bitch, like, if someone weaponizes their religion to harm others or manipulate vulnerable groups, then we's gonna have a problem, and I will run my big ass petty mouth about it. Sound good? Okay. Let's get back to it. So in 2012, just after turning 16, Cole LaBrant started his YouTube channel, posting vlogs with his fellow high school friends on the internets. Things get wild though in 2013.
We can speak to kittens!
Now, I don't have to tell y'all that the hot jocks doing funny things and making fun of girls trope exists, right? Or that Troy, Alabama's population is around 38% black, right? So what? And I say this with petty, not love. I know petty is my love language, but what in the Wonder Bread with mustard and ham audacity made Cole and his friends think making a Vine channel called Dem White Boys, where they mock women and appropriate black culture, was a good idea?
Kendrick! What? Now, Kendrick, I swear to God, I've been over this. You yell at me more time, boy, I will cut you.
Honestly, y'all, I didn't even think that I would bring this animation back up, but you know, they leave me no choice. It's time we bring back our dearly beloved Wheel of Racism because I've run out of vegetables. A bitch got beef.
Racism.
Now let me see. After Cole and friends got their instant slice of fame for doing nothing of any noticeable talent or value, let's see how that branched off into responsible content that doesn't perpetuate harmful stereotypes of marginalized communities.
Tyrone, you know this your baby! Father?
That baby don't look like me. That baby don't look like...
Excellent! Let's spin the wheel. Now, for those who might be a little lost on why this kind of shit, which was pervasive on Vine until its glorious death, but now permeates a lot of TikTok culture, here's a snip from an opinion piece that lays it out well. In this particular Vine, dem white boys reenact a stereotyped interaction between black men and women who conceive children out of wedlock, as if it's only black people who do... The wig, bandana, and exaggerated chest are symbols that allow us to identify the mother figure as a black woman, because apparently that's the only thing that defines us. This image particularly resembles the mammy figure in terms of the exaggerated features of black women that first appeared in American media in the 1980s. Okay, so we all on the same page? White boys turning into mammies, bad. Not doing that, good. But Cole wasn't out of the public eye yet. No, he was just getting started. After the boys split up for university, Cole made the decision to go on The Amazing Race with his mom in 2015, coming in second place on season 28, all while spreading his personal message of religion, the same religion that his mother later left. Now, I gotta tell you, like, nothing more on brand for some folks than spreading their interpretation of the gospel while simultaneously shitting on black and people of color in the name of comedy.
I threw cats out the window, got a kitty litter.
Fun. In an interview after the show, Cole said the following: "There's not many people in the spotlight who proclaim the name of Jesus for various reasons. I'm not one of those people, and I'll stand for what I believe in." Now, first of all, okay, can Professor Petty have a moment? Because I didn't actually agree with that, and it drives me just... when influencers act like they're damn near the first in history to do something. Like, there are zillions of people in the spotlight who very openly talk about their religious beliefs. Celebrities have been thanking God and putting scriptures in their bio since the dawn of time. Politicians sniff out whichever the way the wind is blowing and go with that religion for their campaigns that year. Like, this is not new. Is it okay to be respectfully talking about your beliefs? Sure. Proclaiming that you're the first one to do it? So Cole is not the original forefront spiritual band leader that he thinks he is, okay? We got Nick Cannon for that. But in the same breath, like, many public figures do not share or feel they cannot safely share their beliefs because they may be targeted by covert and overt bigotry if their beliefs don't align with, you know, like asshat number 77 on Twitter, who doesn't believe in anything but his right to be an asshat. Like, it has nothing to do with standing for what you believe in for them. It might mean the difference between persecution and survival. But you know, who cares? So let's move on. Now, after the success of being on The Amazing Race and Vine, Cole found himself in Los Angeles for an extended vacation before returning to Alabama for his sophomore year of college. And then our dear 19-year-old stallion was at the Grove, an outdoor mall in Los Angeles, where he set eyes on Savannah for the first time in real life. So now that we've brought up to when Cole and Sav first meet, let's acquaint you with Sav. So Savannah Sutis, I don't know if I'm saying that right, was born on March 2nd, 1993 in Orange County, California. After her parents divorced due to her father's infidelity, Savannah grew up primarily with her mother pursuing dance. My parents' divorce definitely got me, especially as a teenage girl. I think it's so important to have your dad in your life if you can. I think that definitely made me kind of go down a darker path. Trust me, hun, sometimes even having your dad in your life also brings you down a dark path. I'm just saying. Now, when Savannah turned 19, however, her life was about to change forever. She got pregnant. Now, to her credit, she's been open about her prior relationship, saying that not choosing the right guy and also just being cheated on by my boyfriend, I think it helped me understand how hurt my mom was when she was cheated on. But less to her credit is the part of her 19 and pregnant story that paints pregnant individuals as hormonal crazy psychopaths.
And I just kind of screamed at the top of my lungs, you know why I've gained a few pounds? Well, I'm pregnant. And it wasn't the best way to tell her, but I was hormonal and psycho. So I screamed at her and told her I was pregnant. She started crying. I ran out of the house like a dramatic pregnant woman, and it was really emotional and crazy.
Can we just like not keep calling women dramatic, hormonal psychos when they're doing things like, you know, continuing the human race? Like, I know she was saying this about herself initially, but she generalized it to mean like all pregnant people are psychos, and that just rubs me all kinds of wrong. Anyways, so as a young mom, Sav started posting lip-syncing videos on Musical.ly with her 3-year-old daughter, Everleigh, quickly blowing up overnight. As she gained more followers, she made the decision to continue with social media, prominently featuring Everleigh all over the internet, which I'm sure will do wonders for her psychological development. Now, fast forward to when Sav was 23 years old and she was at the Grove in 2016 for a play date, eventually seeing Cole in real life for the first time after recognizing him from social media, and it was love at first sight.
Middle of the summer, I got really busy because I met a girlfriend. We just had Chick-fil-A.
6 months after meeting, Cole proposed, and 6 months after that, they were married. So for those who are doing the math, you got that right. 1 year after meeting, they were husband and wife. And they lived happily ever after. Or at least they did once Cole lost his virginity. And I have this unnecessary bit of information because, as it turns out, there aren't just 10 commandments in the Bible. Ancient archaeologists recently discovered that there's an 11th commandment: thou shalt blast thy sexcapades on Twitter for likes and shares. And with said loss of virginity came the kids, as sometimes that happens. They had 3 more, to be exact, each of whom would have their births recorded and plastered on the internet for all to see. Real quick, just like, I don't care about family vlogs. Maybe it's because many of them just seem super exploitative of their child for profit. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm still on the fence with where I fully sit with family vlog channels. Like, I get it. There might be some doing it responsibly, but it just seems like such a slippery slope, you know? Like, leave me a comment. Like, let me know if any of y'all watch family channels and why you do. I'm almost fascinated more by the fascination with these channels than anything. Okay, anyways, back to the fruits of Cole's loins.
Like, please never say, oh, poor Everleigh, or like, oh, I feel bad for the older ones.
Trust me, you do not need to feel bad for our kids.
Before we get down and dirty, let's play a quick game of what I like to call controversy roulette, so you can get a sense of who we're dealing with. So the rules are simple. I'm going to rapid fire controversies that the LaBrant fam has been involved in, and you're going to get increasingly angrier until we both implode. Sound good? Great. So let's start off easy with the homeschooling drama. So Savannah and Cole posted a video talking about how they were thinking about homeschooling their eldest, Everleigh. Like, not to further her education, but in order to spend more time with her and have extra help with the younger kids.
So I started looking at schools that do they go to school 2 days a week and then they're home 3 days a week, which I feel like is perfect for me. Second of all, she's helpful with the kids, so I feel like having her here would be nice, just with another baby coming too. It's nice having an extra pair of hands around the house, even if it's a 9-year-old.
Wait, hold up, okay. The first part I understand, but the second, nah, y'all have to be joking, right?
It's nice having an extra pair of hands around the house, even if it's a 9-year-old.
Savannah, Sav, can I call you Sav? You have another set of hands sitting right next to you, Sav, ma'am. Okay, I'm gonna call you, can I call you ma'am? You got a grown-ass man sitting next to you whose job in life is to co-parent these babies you're bringing into the world, not generating some modern-day appearance of child labor by taking your kid out of school so she can help care for babies. And I'm saying this is just the first round of controversy roulette. Like, can a bitch get, like, I don't know, some good old-fashioned racist tweets or something as a warm-up? Like, I'm used to that shit. This is a whole nother thing. We got a belly flop right into child exploitation in this bitch. Okay. Listen, we have barely scratched the surface and already we have to talk about a cute little thing called parentification. So parentification, or parent-child role reversal, is the process of role reversal whereby a child or adolescent is obliged to act as a parent to their own parent or sibling. Now, there are two types of parentification: instrumental and emotional. Instrumental parentification, as potentially being seen here with the LaBrants, happens when parents assign their child responsibilities that aren't age appropriate, such as taking care of siblings, grocery shopping, or cooking meals. Now, obviously, we're not there for the day-to-day to know the full extent of what Cole and Sav are having their 9-year-old child do. So I can only hope it doesn't cross these fuzzy lines. But you know what? Like, I mean, don't worry. Like, the LaBrants don't want you to feel bad for their kid. Literally.
Like, please never say, oh, poor Everly, or like, oh, I feel bad for the older ones. Or
trust me, you do not need to feel bad for our kids. Our kids are happy and well taken care of, and if anything, they're a little bit spoiled.
Don't feel bad for my kids.
Okay, but what about if you tell your kids you're giving away their dog as a prank and your kid shuts down completely, refuses to speak, and then bursts into tears?
Because we feel like we can't take good enough care of him at our house.
Well, by the time her mom Sav revealed this was all just an April Fool's prank, the news made Everly so upset she refused to speak.
We're gonna let her give him away.
But then Sav finally whispers to her the whole thing is a joke.
So, like, do I get to feel bad for them now?
Don't feel bad for my kids.
Because that is all kinds of messed up, and y'all don't even seem to realize the damage you're potentially doing to your child in playing a sick joke like that. I mean, like, let's put a little perspective here. I'm a grown-ass bitch, and if someone had told me that they were giving away my cat, child, I wouldn't burst into tears. I'd burst into flames and scorch the earth. Again, Swoop woke up today and chose violet. So theoretically, if I'm not supposed to feel bad for your kids when you prank disappearing their dog, what about when you whipped out your camera to photograph your son alleged to be mid-seizure so that you could add it into a video for proof? Can I feel bad for your kids then?
Don't feel bad for my kids.
Or what about when you bragged about Everly getting her first pair of ballet point shoes at 9 years old because reasons?
I can kind of like control like her dance privates, like her schedule with that, and
I do think that Everly's gone too much and I wish she was home more.
But listen, friends, and those who care about child development, according to Washington University orthopedics and like anyone with basic critical thinking skills, in order to wear point shoes, the student must be at least 11 years old, as the bones of the feet do not fully develop and harden until approximately 13 to 15 years old. A dancer must be strong enough to protect the bones before they are fully developed. Beginning point too early can permanently damage immature bones. In fact, according to Dance Magazine, in 2018, the Young America Grand Prix added a rule for participants under 12, performing on point became strongly discouraged. For those under 11, it became prohibited. She's 9.
Don't feel bad for my kids.
This is fine. Everything is fine.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
You know what? Let's see what others thought about LaBrants. 9-year-olds do not need point shoes. They are seriously going to injure this child if they don't give this nonsense a rest.
Don't feel bad for my kids.
Am I supposed to be celebrating that you might be severely damaging your daughter's feet for the rest of her life so you can keep posting her dance routines on social media for all to see? But that's not even all of it. Oh no, not even close, child. Like, let's do a bonus round of Controversy Roulette, clickbait edition. So, since we're all enrolled in Petty University, let's have a pop quiz. I'm going to show you 3 thumbnails of videos that the LaBrant fam posted and give you a few seconds to guess what the videos are about. You ready? Yeah, neither am I, but let's do this anyway. Okay, thumbnail number 1, thumbnail number 2, and thumbnail number 3. Okay, pencils down, class. Let's go over the answers. I'd be such an annoying teacher. So, thumbnail 1, video 1 claimed that their house in Ladera Ranch was at burn risk and they were forced to evacuate by authorities, only to spend the day driving to San Francisco for a Bay Area vacation. Because nothing says evacuation and risk of losing a home like packing nothing of value and just going for a play date. Now, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, which, are you following me on Instagram? Because honey, you've waited long enough, okay? Don't tease. It's time to give in to the sweet swoop seduction and follow me on Instagram. Sorry, anyways, I posted a couple of months ago about how the house literally directly behind mine, like not in the neighborhood or in the city somewhere, no, directly behind mine, like a little fence split in between, burned completely down to the ground one night. Did they do that on purpose? No. It was terrifying. Like, thank God the wind was just carrying the flames straight upwards, although the house adjacent got pretty burned on one side of it. But I'd been thinking, like, if there had been one little shift in the wind and it had blown the flames backwards, it would have scaled up my balcony and, like, who knows what could have happened. Thankfully, no one got hurt. But you know what I did while the flames were literally outside my window just feet away? I packed up the cats, my hard drives, I said a prayer, and I evacuated, and I stayed as close as possible to monitor the situation. I didn't just go on some like little mini holiday. Now, if you feel bamboozled, think about how their literal neighbors felt when they saw their video about the evacuation go viral. Since I live in the same neighborhood as them, I was baffled as to what fire they could be referencing. I watched half of the video and was so outraged that they would exploit the holy fire tragedy for their own profit. Same. Now, let's look at clickbait video number 2, why we can't adopt right now, with a very serious, compelling look on their faces, so you'd expect some serious video about adoption, right? Nah, bitch. It's just a vlog of the family at the San Diego Zoo and Disneyland with the Q&A at the end.
It'd be like, that's such a tricky situation. It's already hard enough having your family out on the internet, much less an adopted kid and a family, you know? So
I'm getting frizzier. I might as well just put my hood all the way on to hide the frizz. Whatever. Okay, I'm living my life. I blame you, LaBrant. Now, the third video in our clickbait pop quiz, Savannah Can't Get Up. Instead of a harrowing story about how a pregnant woman can't get up, we have a vlog where 10 minutes in, she is pictured putting her feet up after being at Disneyland all day. Riveting. Like, there are literal pregnant people who have physical things happen and they can't get up, but you're at Disneyland all day and then you clickbait that, oh my gosh, she can't get up, everyone should be concerned. Fine. And thus concludes today's wonderful game of controversy roulette. You all win prizes, class dismissed.
And he ended up passing away. And I was thinking maybe that happened for a reason so that now I would be aware and get her taken in, but I was such a nervous wreck that I couldn't even take her in.
Okay, now it's time we dig into the shit that should have got them canceled, but like many, if not all influencers, they remain unscathed. So on August 28th, 2021, the LaBrant fam dropped a bombshell. Well, to be fair, it was a crusty, rusty, definitely not explosive bombshell, but a bombshell nonetheless. So let me explain. She got diagnosed with cancer. Yes, you read that right. With no warning, no cushion, no anything. Cole and Savannah uploaded this 45-minute documentary to their channel. Now, at first glance, you instantly feel terrible. Like, no one wants to think about children battling cancer, not even the dregs, scumballs of the earth. So 2 minutes in, after the weird title cards, you're presented with an age-old classic and my personal favorite, the angelic YouTuber setup. Now, I know I've talked about it before, but you've got the super bright white background, the white couch, the pastel, nearly white colors, and it's all by design, and I can confidently say it's all by design because the video starts off with the text saying a film by Cole LaBrant. And as a director and filmmaker myself, unless you're taking some random found footage, usually everything is by design, from the colors to the framing to what they're wearing to the way they give some details, but not all. It's all designed to maximize sympathy and alarm from their viewers, starting with the clickbait title and capitalizing on someone else's trauma. But wait, that's not why we're here. So their kid has cancer, right? Wrong, like so wrong. In fact, like I can't even put into words. So like, let's start with this.
I was truly just riddled with anxiety. I had convinced myself that our 2-year-old daughter had cancer, and it sounds so blunt and so almost bad to say, but I was convinced, and I wasn't eating. I couldn't sleep. She had bruising on her legs, like most kids do.
So wait, child, hold up, okay. This whole ass documentary isn't even about how their child Posey was diagnosed with cancer, you know, like the title says. No, it's about how Cole randomly thought Posey had cancer because he Googled stuff. And not only did he apparently convince himself of this, which I'm sure actually was terrifying, but they didn't like talk to anyone.
But as you Google things, you can just convince yourself of stuff, and that's my personality, unfortunately.
And we really didn't talk to anybody about it.
No.
That's the thing too, so I think it was like eating him up inside too, just like only talking to me about it. And so I was like, nope, everything's fine. Like there's no way that that's gonna happen. Like everything's fine. It's not gonna happen to us, which is what I feel like all parents say, is like, you don't think it's gonna happen to you.
Yeah, you don't think it's gonna happen.
Nothing did happen to you. I'm sorry, I needed to make that clear. Like for the record, their daughter Posey is fine. No cancer, fine. I just wanted to clarify that from the start of talking about this because the LaBrant family thought it was appropriate to drag out the suspense of does she have cancer or doesn't she to their audience by not making it clear from the beginning that she's okay. And that shit just drives me wild, dude. Like,
and I kept justifying reasons why this was gonna happen to us because of our faith, or maybe because of our following, and to go through this battle on social media. You justify reasons why maybe bad things are supposed to happen to you.
I'm sorry, what? Did he just say that maybe their child was supposed to get cancer because of their faith? Or because they have a following and their child should maybe get cancer so that they could battle it on social media? Did I hear that shit right, Steve? Did you hear that? Nancy. Did Nancy? Is that what he said?
Because of our faith, or maybe because of our following, and to go through this battle on social media.
Cole, come here, Cole. Come, just bring it in. Cole, just bring it in a little closer. Zoom in a little closer. Listen, not only do bad things not have to happen to you because you're on social media, but kids don't get cancer so that exploitative people like you seem to have the opportunity to battle it out and document it all on social media so you can monetize their illness. There is no social media book of laws saying you have to document something like that. And listen, y'all, like, don't get me wrong. I know that there are parents and people who have actual illnesses that they've chosen to document for people to hopefully learn from or be inspired by. And I think that can be a beautiful, very vulnerable thing to share. But Cole implying that maybe his daughter is or was supposed to get cancer so that he can document it makes my actual fucking skin want to crawl off my body and hide somewhere.
Now that's a lot of damage.
Let's continue.
Waking up in the middle of the night with leg pain, growing pains, whatever it was. She was waking up
and she was like
screaming. And it happened for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight. And all that I could think of was this kid growing up who complained about leg pain, and it ended up being leukemia. And he ended up passing away. And I was thinking maybe that happened for a reason so that now I would be aware and get her taken in. But I was such a nervous wreck that I couldn't even take her in.
I'm sorry, did this dude did he really just say that this kid he knew growing up who passed away from leukemia, that kid died for a reason so that Cole would now know all these years later to take his kid to the doctor if she wasn't feeling well?
And he ended up passing away. And I was thinking maybe that happened for a reason so that now I would be aware and get her taken in. But I was such a nervous wreck that I couldn't even take her in.
Did you really say that that kid died, that that kid's parents lost their child so that you could learn a lesson about childcare? I just, you know what? Did you really just say it? I'm done. I can't even begin to wrap my petty ass blue head around the idea that someone would even suggest that a child passed like that so that they could learn some lesson. Like, you know what? Bravo to that poor child's parents. They deserve a standing ovation for, I guess, sacrificing their child so that Cole and Sav LaBrant can learn a lesson about taking their kid to a doctor. And like, listen, look, maybe he didn't mean it that way, but we went from maybe my kid will get cancer so I can monetize videos about it online to maybe this other kid passed so that I could learn something, like in a matter of seconds. So it tells me that this family not only would completely capitalize on illness if it hit their family, but that they view the tragedy of others as something happening to them and for them to then monetize and benefit from, which, oh wait, that's what this documentary is, isn't it?
Now I would be aware and get her taken in, but I was such a nervous wreck that I couldn't even take her in.
Yeah.
I literally wasn't eating, I couldn't sleep.
So some other child apparently passed so that Cole could learn a lesson about getting Posey to a doctor, but then he doesn't take her to the doctor because he can't. So Sav has to take her by herself. Got it. Glad the kid was apparently sacrificed for you to, I guess, do nothing. And like, he keeps saying everything that happened to him.
I literally wasn't eating, I couldn't sleep. I mean, my kids are my everything.
I took her.
I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't take my daughter to the doctor. And like, look, I understand people can get frozen in fear. It's typically in regards to something that's affecting them, not someone else's health. But Cole, you chose to have these 4 kids. You chose to be a father. Your entire brand is built off of you posting videos to make yourself look like a great father. It is your job to protect the children you choose to bring in this world. So if you think your kid is seriously ill, I'm sorry, dude, but you gotta step up and do your job that you make so much money off of. Again, I'm trying to reserve a little grace. With the things that he said, especially about other people, it's really difficult.
At the end of all this, we knew exactly what God was doing, and he was breaking our hearts for a reason.
So broken, and
so broken, so very broken.
As we were looking into this, I wasn't just focusing on my kid, I was now coming across all these other kids and all these other families, and I was like, this is not an uncommon thing.
I'm sorry, like, what exactly is not an uncommon thing? Like, are you saying thinking your kid has cancer and not taking her to a doctor and then your wife doing it and finding out the child is totally fine is not an uncommon thing? Or are you saying actual children with actual cancer is not an uncommon thing?
You know, like this is common. I mean, we were finding families down the street in neighborhoods not too far away, like in our community and then all across the country and the world. We're like, man, this is happening so often. And I was thinking people need to know, and I'm sure that people do, but like, I gotta do something.
People have to know what? That your child is totally healthy? Or that other people have sick kids? Like, do y'all see how they intentionally leave out very important information? Again, this is a film, so this is all by design. Cole wants you, the audience, to still be unclear if their daughter has cancer or not, and also want you to think that they went through the same harrowing, gut-wrenching experience as other families who have actual sick children.
I literally wasn't eating, I couldn't sleep.
And let me point out, we're 6 minutes into this video and they still have not stated clearly that their daughter is fine. They're still leaving this crucial detail about their daughter as vague as possible to their audience who has like followed along with the growing up of this child and they want to know if she's okay.
And I was thinking people need to know, I gotta do something. I gotta do something. That's all that was in my head, is like, I. Whenever I thought Posey had cancer, all I was thinking was like, we gotta fight. We gotta do something, we gotta fight.
Except he didn't take his daughter to the doctor, his wife did because he said he couldn't.
And even after, it's like, we gotta we gotta fight.
We gotta fight! But he can't take his daughter to the doctor. But we gotta fight. And notice how he glosses over the whole Posey is just fine thing.
Whenever I thought Posey had cancer, all I was thinking was like, we gotta fight.
He's able to very clearly say, whenever I thought Posey had cancer, because that's the salacious thing, the juicy part of the story, the clickbait. But he never clearly says she doesn't have cancer. He only says, even after. Like literally those 2 words, even after.
And even after, it's like, we gotta fight.
Like he doesn't say, even after we found out that she doesn't have cancer. No, all he says is, even after. And then you're just supposed to like fill in the blank, I guess, because that would kill the clickbait. Instead, he leaves it as nebulous and fuzzy as possible, even after.
Whenever I thought Posey had cancer, all I was thinking was like, we gotta fight. We gotta do something. We gotta fight. And even after, it's like, we gotta fight.
Maybe it's just me, but like, I don't know one single parent who would sweep the whole our child doesn't have cancer part under the rug and dwell slowly on the, well, I thought she did thing. Like, you'd be shouting from the rooftops that everything is fine, but not them. That doesn't bring in the trauma bucks. This is why I don't trust folks with frosted tips in their hair. Man, them frosted tips be telling on folks all day long, okay? I'm about to read them like tea leaves. And again, I wouldn't have a problem with any of this if they were clear about their child's health and if they didn't make statements like some other kid passed for a reason that benefits them. So Posey is fine, healthy, but Cole couldn't or wouldn't shake it once he knew for sure she was fine. So what does he do? He said, hey, let me see if I can clickbait the hell out of my daughter not having cancer and bring in some random families that do so that I can monetize real suffering since they're perfectly fine. That sounds moral and honorable. Parenting is fun.
I've really just been praying and talking with Savannah and the team on where they should go and what families you should incorporate. So I've been going through Instagram.
I'm gonna hold back. Let's see what they have to say. So on May 21st, 2021, Cole films himself praying to God that he will be connected with families that are going through pediatric cancer. And what do you know? Prayers are answered through the Instagram Explore page.
So I'm just starting. I'm just reaching out to different families.
After choosing 3 families, Cole and Savannah embark on their mission to do what hadn't been already done.
What can we do that hasn't already been done?
Is that like, it's the white knight for me, right? The savior complex and complete dismissal of every effing person who's ever done a film or video or anything about families dealing with child illnesses. I mean, you know, sorry, Marlo Thomas.
Hi, I'm Marlo Thomas.
I guess your decades devoted to filming commercials and videos about St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital has all been for nothing because Cole's video has never been done before.
To help St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in its mission to save the lives of children who are battling cancer and other deadly diseases.
Nope, sorry, Marlo. Cole's the first one to do this, Marlo.
As the National Outreach Director of the hospital.
Oh, please. As the National Outreach Director of the Children's Hospital. Who do you think you are, Marlo?
Hello, I'm Danny Thomas. Many years ago, I made a fantastic promise to build a shrine. The shrine is going to be a hospital for children of all races and creeds.
And my father fulfilled his promise and opened St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Oh. Well, time to pack up your bags, Marlo. Take your dumb hospital. Cole's got this covered since no one else has ever done anything like what he's doing.
No family would ever receive a bill from St. Jude for anything. Not for treatment or travel or housing or food.
Thanks for nothing, Marlo. No, obviously I'm joking about Marlo. She and her father are legends, which is why I am going to donate a portion of today's sponsor to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. If y'all want to check them out, highly recommend it. They are doing great things for families. Now, back to Cole LaBrant. So I don't have an issue with some of this video. I am desperately hoping that deep down inside, they have the right intentions. But the setup, the clickbaiting, cancer around your own child, acting like the loss of others is something you can capitalize on by being intentionally vague about the fact that your child is perfectly healthy. What also troubles me is that Cole made this video, this film as he calls it, to supposedly highlight 3 specific specific families and give statistical information on the lack of funding this country earmarks for cancer treatment in children. That sounds like a decent film to make, except what we get instead is an extended vlog with way more shots of him and his daughter running around town and jumping on airplanes than we ever get of these families telling their stories. This film is 42 minutes long and features just 12 minutes of these three families combined, and 31 minutes are just about Cole. He managed to turn this whole thing that didn't happen to him and make it about him. And like, honestly, there were almost as many shots of Cole on an airplane as there were shots of these families, and only about 10 seconds or so devoted to giving actual medical statistics for people to learn something. And one of the families, whose child had very sadly passed away shortly before, he thought it was appropriate to interview them about losing their child while they were eating dinner.
I'm not gonna say like, what did it feel like, because I can only imagine the worst imaginable pain in the world, but how would you explain the moments leading up to and the moments shortly after?
Well, leading up to it, I guess we didn't really expect it.
So he's asking questions like, how did you feel after your tiny child passed away, while they have a mouthful of food, which I just found as a filmmaker to be super disrespectful. The documentary ends with a short slideshow of the children featured, including the child that has since passed on. And remember, y'all, this entire video was titled "She Got Diagnosed with Cancer" and was originally about their healthy baby girl, Posey. So if you want to donate to cancer research, do it by all means. If you want to make a film about this and profit off what other families are going through and they say it's okay, okay. But please don't make a clickbait video manipulating people to falsely think your child is sick just to turn around and bolster how great you are and how lucky you are to have healthy children you clickbaited in the name of spreading awareness. Class dismissed.
There is so much passion on either side of the topic, and seems to be no middle ground and virtually no humane conversations.
Oh, you didn't think we were done, did you? Like, honestly, grab a snack for this one. Maybe nibble on the devil's lettuce to relax, because when I tell you I pulled a full Hades and my hair turned into flames, you're not ready. Okay, so as if the misleading cancer documentary wasn't enough, the LaBrant Fam had another documentary up their sleeve. And this one, y'all, like, this is the big one, okay? On April 9th, 2022, the LaBrant Fam uploaded their magnum opus, a nearly 40-minute documentary simply titled Abortion Documentary. Now, I want to preface this section of the video by saying that given the recent conversations surrounding Roe v. Wade, heartbeat states, and abortion as a whole, a word the platform wants me to censor, so from now on, I'll have to call abortions abos. Trust me, I hate it too. Having to censor serious things, to me, it's so counterproductive to being able to normalize these topics and create safe spaces, but here we are. Anyways, I will not be getting political here. If you want political swoop, follow me on Twitter, because a bitch has thoughts, all the thoughts. But for this doc, I will be fact-checking their claims based on my own research. And I know this is a very polarizing topic. Many of you have your own personal experiences on both sides of this very divided fence. I want to be as respectful as possible in knowing that this topic scares a lot of people and can be deeply sensitive. Okay, so the documentary starts out with a message. All ad revenue made from this video will be directly donated to local pregnancy centers. And just like that, we've already got something to clear up. Now, y'all, there's no way to not say this bluntly. Pregnancy centers and medical centers like the widely known Planned Parenthood are not the same thing. Crisis pregnancy centers, also called CPCs or fake clinic, are clinics or mobile vans that look like real health centers, but they have a shady, harmful agenda to scare, shame, or pressure you out of getting an abo and to tell lies about abo, birth control, or S-Health. Crisis pregnancy centers don't provide abo or offer a full range of healthcare, and they won't give you honest facts about S-Health and your pregnancy options. Their goal is to spread misinformation and propaganda. Most crisis pregnancy centers aren't legitimate medical clinics, so they don't have to follow HIPAA and keep your information private like most real healthcare providers do. These crisis pregnancy centers could even give your information to the other anti-ABO organizations or use it to harass you. This could be especially concerning if you live in a state with anti-ABO laws. These fake clinics usually try really hard to seem like a normal doctor's office. They might have ultrasound machines, staff in white coats, medical sounding names, and professional websites. They also often post signs near or are located very close to real health centers like Planned Parenthood or real hospitals. They do all of this to try to trick you into coming into their fake clinic instead, so they can pressure you into making certain decisions about S and pregnancy. Now, I don't mind people having their opinions about what they want to do with their bodies and expressing those opinions in a respectful way that is open to science and facts. What I do have a problem with is the dangerous rise of misinformation and traps that some organizations are using to weaponize their views on everyone else to the point where they're confusing the individual from the facts about their options and using their own private medical information against them. This is very dangerous. These facilities, these centers not having to adhere to HIPAA laws is very dangerous. Please be careful. And these sneaky pregnancy centers have existed since the 1960s, with Heartbeat International being the United States' first network of such centers. Now today, there are around 2,500 such centers across the country, and in case you missed the point, they will not give you accurate information about your health and options. Now, I'm gonna move on, but if you want the best, safest way to understand your options when it comes to your health so that you can make informed decisions, please make sure you're going to a licensed doctor, ideally if you have access, in a well-established, documented medical facility where their only agenda is to listen to your needs, answer your questions with facts, not fear, and to provide you with resources to make an informed medical decision for your health, period. Okay, let's get back to it. So 2 seconds in and they move on to heartbeat sound effects, a CGI baby, and a flatline sound, followed by the following narration.
There is so much passion on either side of the topic, and seems to be no middle ground and virtually no humane conversations.
Now, I don't know how much of this I can actually play here, so I will have to keep the clips brief, but their introduction to this entire documentary claims that this is one of the most controversial civil rights issues since 1973, and that there is so much passion on both sides, and seems to be no middle ground, and my favorite part, no humane conversation. I just okay, listen, first of all, there are zillions of resources that you can go to, videos you can watch, articles you can read, publications from doctors who are having humane conversations about all angles of this issue. They happen every day. A quick Google will tell you that, but they don't want you to think that. Now, historically, this type of phrasing is often how a propaganda piece starts. They make it sound like, hey, there's no one having an honest, humane conversation around this, so we're going to do it. It sets up the audience into falsely thinking that this will be a fair, balanced conversation around a topic, representing both sides, when in actuality, it will solely be one-sided, stacked up to try and get you to believe whatever message they want to push because, hey, they're the only ones being humane about this. I wouldn't have a problem with this documentary if they started it saying, hey, we only believe one thing. We're vehemently opposed to any opinion that differs from ours, and here is why we believe what we do. That sets up the audience with a healthy expectation that this is not necessarily a documentary, it's an op-ed piece with a one-sided viewpoint, which is fine, you're allowed to do that, but here we are. The LaBrants then have the unmitigated gall, gumption, and audacity to compare the number of abos in the United States with the, the Rwandan genocide, the Cambodian genocide, and the literal Holocaust. What is it with people using the Holocaust as a comparison to everything? Can we just let that tragedy be its own thing and research and learn about it and stop reducing it down to something less for the sake of comparing it to something else? Like, no, wearing a mask is not like the Holocaust, Karen. No, your rooftop pool closing at 10 p.m. instead of midnight is not like the suffering of the Jewish community, Kevin. But you know, if that wasn't enough, how about splicing in images of cemeteries with pro-choice protests? Does that do it for you? Definitely seems like a documentary open to humane conversation and not a one-sided piece aimed at shaming anyone who might have a different experience than them. But this is the part that really gets me, and we're still in the intro, and the narrator says this.
In the midst of it all, we truly believe that love is the answer. Instead of pro-life or pro-choice, is it possible for us to be pro-love?
I don't know, LaBrant. Is it possible for you to love everyone even if they don't believe exactly as you do? This is the other layer of the manipulation to me, framing it as pro-love. So like, if you don't agree with their position, then I guess you're not pro-love, so you must be pro-hate, you selfish little assholes. So pro-hate, ooh. And again, like, if they don't phrase things as a trap for their audience and they're clear about their intention and not manipulating people with the disguise of this is the only humane conversation, then we don't have a problem. Like, put out your op-ed piece and cool. But that's not what this is. Now, when we first see Savannah and Cole, they're sitting in a studio giving very, after school special energy. And they tackle the first question, should I keep my baby if it's too hard? In short, spoiler alert, yes is their answer. Now, initially, I'm really bothered by the fact that Savannah, who has given birth to 4 healthy children into a hyper-privileged situation with countless resources, family support, being white when we know for a fact that marginalized groups often receive far worse medical care by doctors. I know, I have been through it with my own spinal care. And 3 of their children came after they got married, whose entire business and income in the millions of dollars is all dependent on using her children on camera to get views. Now, is that the sole reason they had 3 more kids? I hope not. Is it a motivating factor? I'm sure it helps. But instead of transparency, they do not acknowledge her privilege in being able to safely and comfortably have children in a documentary where you misleadingly set it up as being the only source of humane conversation, meaning you're allegedly going to be transparent and represent all sides of the conversation. Then context about who you are, the privilege you have, and the health of your pregnancies should be shared up front.
I know for me personally, my choice was always to keep my baby.
Your what? Your choice? Did I hear that? Your choice? Did I hear that right?
My choice was always to keep my baby.
Okay, so you like having choice. One might say you're okay, never mind. That ain't none of my business.
None of my business is none of my business.
Next, we meet Dr. Anthony Levantino, who says that he has performed over 1,200 first and second trimester abos. And I guess he's here to walk us through the wild and wacky world of what happens during an abo.
In your professional opinion, when would you say life begins?
It's such a simple question with such a complicated answer. So at fertilization, you have a living cell. So on that basis, human life begins at fertilization. People think of doctors as so smart. We're no different than anyone else.
I am not here to tell you what to believe, but I am here to tell you that this logic is inherently flawed, especially given that the medical community can't or won't decide amongst themselves when a fetus is considered viable. So for your reference, here's an excerpt from what past research and the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists has found about viability based on gestational age. You're welcome to pause if you like and do or don't do with this information what you want. Regardless of where you stand in this conversation, I cannot stress this enough. It is not your doctor's place to talk you into or out of what is best for your health. Actually, they should be talking you into what's best for your health, the whole Hippocratic Oath thing. Rumor has it they're supposed to be looking out for your best interests. Their job is to inform you of your medical options, period. Now, at one point, they introduced Dr. Kathy Altman.
You hear pro-choice and it sounds right because it's like, oh, well, the mother should be able to decide whether to keep or not keep but they don't understand what not keep means.
So Dr. Kathy comes in really hot. She says she has performed many abos herself and goes on to describe how an abo is given by likening it to a vacuum cleaner. And it's very compelling, but it's also incredibly misleading. Now let's break this down and actually fact check, shall we? So the pill is the most common name for using two different medicines. This word I can't pronounce and that word I can't pronounce. Now the vacuum procedure that Dr. Kathy mentions is something that is performed incredibly rarely. This is reserved for serious medical complications that put the mother at risk, or if it is not going to be viable outside of the womb past the 24th week marker. Again, LaBrant, if you're going to present facts, the humane facts, it would be a good idea to present facts. Like, if this is truly a humane conversation, then contributing to misinformation by using scare tactics or vague information without context is incredibly irresponsible and can be dangerous. Again, this procedure is reserved for life-saving situations and you are misrepresenting it. Now, you have a right to your beliefs. I will always say that. But manipulating medical facts to push your beliefs is unacceptable and counterproductive to finding healthy solutions. And I might add, definitely not pro-love.
Is it possible for us to be pro-love?
You know, it's one thing to be a documentary filmmaker who's helping to tell someone else's story, and I know because I am a documentary filmmaker. It is another thing to continually inject yourself into the story and present yourself like you went through the same hell that others did, just so that you can get the sympathy vote. Clickbaiting that your child had cancer when she thankfully doesn't, so that you could pretend to know the same hell that families actually facing that, is gross. Sitting on your couch in your privilege after having 4 healthy, wonderful, beautiful pregnancies, and bless you for that, and children that you wanted, preaching to those who in no way have your resources, medical care, health, money, and let's face it, white skin that earns you preferential treatment in a medical setting. That is a sad fact. I'm not bringing it up just for the sake of bringing that up. That is a thing. It is a problem. Not discussing any of that is so grossly out of touch and just gives savior complex every time I see it. Even if I want to be on your side of this conversation, I can't be if you're not accurate, factual, and transparent. Like, look, I don't think the entire documentary is awful. There are real people with real stories who share their own experiences that should be represented, as many might relate or find comfort in their stories in this piece. But I think the most glaring and honestly disturbing part of this documentary isn't just the fact that Sav and Cole were not at all transparent about their hyper privilege, which can greatly impact someone's decision on abo, but how they completely, totally, 100% did not even bring up all of the reasons why someone might choose or might need to have an abo. Firstly, like, did y'all know that there is now legislation being pushed that labels the removal of an ectopic pregnancy an abo? According to doctors the world over, an ectopic pregnancy, like, that's where the fertilized egg implants outside of the uterus and can be fatal to the pregnant person. Doctors have stated this type is never viable. It cannot be removed and then re-implanted. But anti-abo groups have pushed so hard to label it an abo that new laws are popping up, like in Ohio, where the mother might be denied the urgent care necessary and could therefore die from a pregnancy that's not even viable. Many medically necessary life-saving treatments are now at risk of being denied because these extreme groups want their way or death. Like, labels matter, context matters. None of this was covered in the LaBrant's humane documentary. I absolutely hate that we have to provide such extreme examples in order for people to have an actual conversation, but here we are. In the LaBrant documentary, there was no mention of pregnant individuals who are in abusive relationships or who have no access to affordable healthcare or who are children themselves. I mean, we've seen examples this week alone of 14, 15, 16-year-olds who were R-worded by a family member and are now being forced to have their abuser's child with no choice. Like, think about the psychological damage and physical damage that may last them for the rest of their lives. Now, just speaking from my own experience, I was groomed and R-worded at a very young age. I was a child. If that long-term abuse that I suffered had resulted in a pregnancy, I would absolutely want and absolutely deserve to be given full, transparent, judgment-free medical options, resources, and explanations so that I could make a sound and informed decision about what I would need to do with my body. In many ways, I have lived much of my life feeling like my body was stolen from me without my understanding or consent because of what I went through. And I imagine that there are many of you who have felt the same. And the one thing that I have learned is that what happened to you is not your fault. Your body is your body, no one else's. And if you have had to make a decision that the world calls controversy, I know that you made the best decision for you at the time with what you had to go by. And I'm here to support you no matter what. Period. If you were in a terrible abusive situation or anything like that and you chose to have the child, I hope that your child is happy and that you can look at that child with love and completely forget the abuse that you went through. And if you chose not to have that child, I am still standing here with you. These are the conversations that we need to be having. We need to allow space and grace for people, no matter what decision that they make, if we ever want to find some type of peaceful solution here. That is how I define pro-love.
Rapid adultification, multi-layered abuse I wished on no one. I narrowly survived the toddler to train wreck pipeline.
Okay, we're gonna deviate from that. We're gonna get into why people actually watch family channels and the LaBrant Fam. And honestly, like, I know we've talked about this before, but just to give a refresher, let's break it down. One of the main reasons people love family channels is because they're aspirational to many. Like, it's the idea that if they work a little bit harder, if their kid is a little more talented, if they make that one viral video, then they'll also live a dream life like their favorite social media stars. Aspirational brand strategy may appeal to a person's psychological, social, and/or economical aspirations rather than their psychological, social, and/or economic realities. Aspirational brand strategy positions a product or service through image, appealing to what they want to be. Okay, so we have the aspirational part down. What about the parasocial relationship part? Now, if you've never heard that word, let me fill you in. Sociologists Richard Wohl and Donald Horton originally coined the concept of parasocial interactions and relationships in 1956 to explain how audiences developed attachments to media figures. It boils down to one-sided affection. A person invests emotional energy and attachment in a media figure, and they develop a sense of kinship and intimacy that makes them feel as though they know the celebrity, even though the celebrity has generally no idea they even exist. Now, essentially, the audience of the LaBrant Fam feels like they know them on a deeper level, a more personal level, meaning that they'll defend their actions even if problematic and support their new ventures and generally be unwavering unless something they do pushes them too far. And I mentioned the last part because that Abo documentary definitely made a dent in their subscriber base, but like only a small dent. And like all in all, they're doing just fine. Now, finally, I do want to briefly mention that some subscribers and viewers may be watching family channels for more nefarious reasons, particularly the, lock them up and throw away the key demographic. PED disorder is characterized by recurring intense S arousal, fantasy, urges, or behavior involving minors. And the main reason I mention this is because on YouTube, a user can add videos to a playlist without notifying the channel who originally uploaded it. Especially in channels featuring children published by their parents or other family members, the owner of the channel would have no idea their child is a part of a playlist that is feting minors. But views are views, right? Now, I will say I'm not insinuating that the LaBrant family or any well-known family channel is knowingly and willingly making content for Scumball 487 to boost their numbers and fan base. But I will say that their most popular videos tell a bit of a different story. For example, videos featuring the age of their kids, stills of everyday dancing, or partially clothed at water parks have tens of millions of views, with their most popular videos, Daddy-Daughter Karaoke, hovering around 108 million views, followed by Getting Stuck on a Water Park Ride at 50 million views. Now, without the children featured in the title or thumbnail, videos average 1.5 and 2.6 million views. Now, especially given that all of the children are under the age of 10, these are things that just, they don't sit right, you know? And again, like, I totally understand the draw to vlogging your family. Maybe it can bring a family closer in some ways. You get to spend time while you are working. That seems like it would be a good thing, but it's a massive slippery slope that could go sideways real fast. Earlier in today's doc, I mentioned the parentification of children, specifically Everly, and some key signs to look for. Now, what I didn't mention are the long-lasting effects that parentification can have on a child all the way through young adulthood. These effects are stress and anxiety, physical symptoms. A child may complain of stomach aches or headaches that don't have a known source, disruptive behavior, curtailed development. Children may be reluctant to take part in the kind of activities their peers engage in. And some symptoms that might show up in teenagers might be inability to connect to their own feelings. Parentified child learns to ignore their own feelings. They figure out that if they want to feel close to their parent, they have to take over adult tasks. Self-blame and guilt, loss of childhood, and substance use. I did find a video that child star and actress Allison Stoner made about the toddler to train wreck pipeline, and honestly, I'll let her explain it for herself.
Extreme peaks and valleys of global fame, hidden medical hospitalizations, artistic milestones, rapid adultification, and multi-layered abuse I wished on no one. I narrowly survived the toddler to train wreck pipeline. In fact, nothing was designed for me to end up normal.
Nothing was designed for her to end up normal. That implies a lack of socialization, of boundaries, of age-appropriate activities and interactions that would make anyone grow up faster than they were meant to, including performing for strangers or interacting with a camera as a friend day in and day out. These child stars essentially become caught in the crosshairs of being an entertainer who's adult enough to go along with the story, but still naive enough to be believed as a child.
Cognitively, I'm just beginning to comprehend the difference between the real and the imaginary. And my nervous system is imprinting patterns that will unconsciously dictate my behavior personally, socially, and professionally for decades to come.
And the toddler to train wreck pipeline is one that we have seen played out over and over again. And it makes me wonder if there's truly a good way to care for child stars across all media. And like, I don't know. So what do y'all think? Like, do you think the LaBrant Fam is exploiting their children to spread their beliefs? Do you think it's okay? Like, leave me a comment below and let's discuss it further. Whoo-cha! Okay, let's purify ourselves in the waters of Lake Minnetonka and have a kitten palate cleanser for our soul. Now, sadly again, the kitties are not in my studio now. Okay, I've been moving and they ain't here, but here's some B-roll and they're so cute. So again, be sure to grab your Petty University apparel. Petty is my love language from the new collection linked in the description. And honey, for those of you who have already received your items, thank you so much for tagging me in your post. It just makes me so freaking happy that you are loving the new collection so much. Please keep tagging me so that I can feature you on Instagram and Twitter and maybe in these docs.
Couple of Twitter shout outs from my SIENNA Part 2 doc. First one is from Maddie, who says, in a world where we question a victim of SA more than we question the perpetrators of SA, it's nice to hear that it's not my fault, despite the world telling me otherwise. Thank you for always reminding me of the truth and telling me I'm brave for speaking mine, and you absolutely are.
And the second one goes to
Nia, who says, as a survivor myself, the end of the video really got me. It made me feel heard and like my story is valid no matter what anyone says about the situation. It was incredibly moving, and I started tearing up because I heavily related to most of the statements. I'm so glad that it provided you some type of comfort, and just remember that you are always stronger than you might even realize.
If you want to be my next Twitter shout out, make sure to follow me on Twitter at SpankyV, linked below, and retweet this video right here. Also hit me up on Instagram, linked in the description. That's where I post most often and respond to a lot of DMs. Be sure to check out Helix Sleep, linked below, and take their sleep quiz and get the mattress of your dreams with their 100-night sleep trial, and finally get the restful sleep you deserve, honey. The term influencer is something that I've grown to both love and hate. I love it for the positive potential it gives really any of us to share pieces of our lives online and build amazing communities like this one that we have built together, which is just like means everything to me. But on the other hand, I sometimes dislike the word because it has become far too easy for regular ass people to build platforms and influence masses with thoughtless, careless, manipulative content that I believe might do more harm than good. Are family vlog channels always inherently problematic? I don't know. I'd like to hope not, but we've seen many examples that are pushing the line of what's influence with their kids and what's just basic exploitation. Using your kids and the privilege you've had to carry healthy pregnancies to term as a means of pretending like you in any way relate to the hardships and experiences of those living in a different reality is another. It's short-sighted, out of touch, and when done too often, it can become dangerous, and that's where I personally draw the line. Should the LaBrant family be deplatformed and denied the ability to influence their 13, 14 million viewers? I think you'll have to decide that for yourself on this one. I will always be someone who thinks facts and context are important, and when I see so much information continually manipulated from one source, I really have to call their intentions into question. Is it really about spreading some message of pro-love and relatability, or is it just another ego stroke for views, inserting yourself in everyone else's traumatic experiences and hardships, patting yourself on the back while you sit in your $1 million home buying like $200 sweatpants for your 4 healthy kids who are literally the reason you're making all this money in the first place? Would you continue to create content if your children weren't involved? We'll never know. At the end of the day, it's like I always say, we as viewers have the power of choosing who gets the honor of influencing the masses, and I do view it as an honor. All I could say is choose wisely. Y'all got this. Class dismissed. Swoop!